Before Wall Street existed, before Rome dreamed of empire, before the phrase global economy was ever coined, there was a force far more potent than armies, borders, or laws: money. The Achaemenid Persians didn't just understand this, they weaponized it, turning finance into an invisible engine that bound continents, controlled populations, and crushed rebellion without a single sword drawn. Welcome to Shadow History, where money, power, and hidden systems collide, and nothing is ever as simple as it seems. Most people imagine ancient Persia through its armies, palaces, and monumental scale stretching from the Aegean to India. But beneath that spectacle lay the true empire, a financial machine so sophisticated that modern governments still operate on its blueprint. Taxes, standardized currency, administrative districts, sovereign wealth reserves, these were not modern inventions. They were Persian. The challenge was staggering. How do you unify dozens of cultures, economies, languages, and political traditions into one functioning empire without losing control the moment you look away? Cyrus the Great faced this head-on. Conquering the Medes, defeating Lydia, taking Babylon, he stitched together the largest empire humanity had ever seen, ruling nearly 40% of the known world. Each region had its own measures, currencies, and tribute systems. Babylon demanded grain, Lydia minted coins, Egypt exacted agricultural levies, others paid in cattle, metals, or manufactured goods. Local systems were stable, imperial control was chaotic. Cyrus' framework barely survived, and under his successors cracks widened: corruption, vanishing tribute, provinces acting independently, no reliable coordination over thousands of kilometers. Armies alone could not hold this together. Structure, discipline, predictability, centralized financial intelligence became the true weapon of empire. Enter Darius I. He did not need to reinvent the empire, he needed to stabilize it. His first radical step, satrapies. Earlier kings had governors. Darius standardized the entire hierarchy. Each satrapy received fixed tax quotas calculated from population, wealth, and productive capacity. No arbitrary demands. Obligations became predictable, enforceable, unavoidable. Taxes were just the beginning. Diverse empires collapse on confusion. Darius introduced the gold daric, a stable, widely accepted, empire-backed currency. Purity 95.8% gold, weight 8.4 grams, paired with silver siglos. Merchants from Egypt to the Indus Valley could trade seamlessly. Soldiers were paid, taxes collected uniformly, liquidity flowed. Even Greeks, Persia's later rivals, trusted it. The daric became the world's first reserve currency. Controlling money meant controlling influence. But money only matters if it moves efficiently. Darius built the Royal Road, 2,700 kilometers, relay stations every 20 to 30 kilometers, ensuring couriers traveled from Susa to Sardis in 7 to 9 days. Orders, bullion, taxes, nothing waited. Infrastructure equals power. Treasuries overflowed strategically. Gold and silver were leverage, insurance, capital for emergencies. Satraps rewarded for loyalty, punished for corruption. Local elites stabilized with loans and subsidies. Temple economies integrated into state finance. Persia ruled not by crushing differences, but by harmonizing them. Satrapies, daric, royal road, treasuries, continental-scale economic architecture. Greeks mocked luxury but copied the financial logic. Romans conquered Western Persia but borrowed taxation and treasury models. The daric remained a benchmark for centuries. Persia revealed the ultimate truth: money is empire. Strip away titles, palaces, cavalry, true power flows through financial clarity. Modern parallels are unmistakable. Satrapies equals federal states, provinces. Daric equals reserve currency. Treasury equals sovereign wealth. Royal road equals fiber optics, shipping lanes, satellites. Whoever controls money and information controls power. Yet even the best system fails when leadership abandons it. Later kings indulged, detached, extravagant. Corruption returned. Treasury mismanaged. Alexander did not conquer Persia with heroism. He exploited systemic weakness. Empires collapse not from enemies, but from internal decay. Persia's lessons remain. Measure what matters. Standardize what you can. Build structures that endure pressure. Prepare before crisis. Treat financial clarity as power. Ignore it, and history will crush you. But this is only the surface. The Achaemenid system contained layers most never see: financial incentives for governors, enforced compliance via oversight, loans and subsidies to local elites, integration of temples into state finance, social engineering through money. Infrastructure was speed of command, not convenience. Treasuries were leverage, not decoration. Armies and battles were symptoms. The cure was systemic control. Modern governments repeat the same mistakes. Debt accumulates for political expedience. Infrastructure decays. Currency stability becomes optional. Inflation quietly erodes wealth. China studies Persia: centralized planning, reserves, infrastructure as leverage, long-term strategic horizons. The Achaemenids understood centuries ago: power cannot be projected without funding it, and funding requires coherent, disciplined financial architecture. Even Persia fell when leadership ignored these rules. Later kings became insulated, detached. Corruption crept back in. Treasury mismanaged. Alexander exploited a system that stopped working. Empires collapsed not from external force, but from forgotten principles. The Persian blueprint is still valid: measure, standardize, prepare, enforce, build durable structures, and wield financial clarity as a weapon. Ignore it, and history repeats mercilessly. Shadow history will show exactly how power flows, where control lies, and why empires fail silently before armies fall. Beyond mere history, this blueprint echoes in federal systems, multinational corporations, reserve currencies, and sovereign funds. Roads, bridges, fiber optic networks, shipping lanes, satellites, digital currencies. The royal road lives on in modern infrastructure. Money moves, influence moves, empires move. Those who fail to see the pattern repeat it, powerless to stop collapse. Observe the Achaemenid lessons: align incentives, enforce compliance, standardize currency, secure reserves, control infrastructure, and integrate society economically. Discipline, clarity, and foresight are the weapons no army can replace. Ignore them, and even the mightiest empire crumbles. Today, these rules govern nations, corporations, and global systems. They are not abstract, they are laws of financial gravity. Shadow history will show you exactly how to trace them, understand them, and see who really holds power. And when you understand, you will see that the same architecture still dominates the world: invisible, unstoppable, and quietly unforgiving. The empire's lessons extend further: intelligence networks, courier systems, treasury auditing, supply chains, loyalty incentives, debt manipulation, inflation control, economic surveillance, and the careful orchestration of markets were all tested in Persia. The logic of risk, reward, punishment, and compliance was encoded into every transaction, every tax, every coin minted. Persia's empire was not just territory, it was an intricate, living financial organism. Modern superpowers repeat these mistakes because they ignore a fundamental rule: money is more lethal than armies, and clarity is the ultimate weapon. Shadow history exposes this truth: systems that dominate history are invisible, but their effects are real, brutal, and unforgiving. The same principles govern the rise and fall of empires today. Observing Persia teaches how loyalty is bought, rebellion is preempted, wealth is weaponized, and control is maintained. Infrastructure, standardized currency, oversight, treasury reserves, rapid communication, and strategic incentives, these are the levers that move nations. Ignore them, and collapse is inevitable. History repeats itself because few see the architecture of power. Observe, understand, and you begin to see the world as it truly is: a game of invisible forces, moving silently, shaping destiny. The Persian blueprint is not a relic, it is alive. Federal states, central banks, reserve currencies, multinational corporations, fiber optic networks, shipping lanes, satellites, sovereign funds, all follow this logic. Shadow history will show you how to read these patterns, and why the balance sheet matters more than the battlefield. Money flows, infrastructure flows, information flows, and with them, power. Fail to see it, and empires crumble quietly, invisibly, without warning. The lessons of 2,500 years ago are not gone. They are encoded in today's global systems, waiting for those who choose to notice. And if you ignore them, history will crush you just as ruthlessly as it crushed empires before you. Financial clarity is survival. Strategic insight is domination. Shadow history will take you there, exposing the invisible levers of control that the greatest empires mastered, and the mistakes that guarantee collapse. And here's the modern echo. Today, Europe faces debt crises, rising inflation, failing infrastructure, and uncoordinated policies that reveal the same fundamental truths Persians uncovered millennia ago. Federal structures and national budgets repeat the same errors. States finance politics with debt, reserves are thin, infrastructure decays, currency stability hangs by a thread, and crises grow silently. The gold derrick's lesson: predictable revenue, strategic reserves, disciplined finance, is largely absent. The EU's complex financial interdependence mirrors the same risks observed in ancient Persia: lack of preparation, coordination failures, leadership blind spots, and the inevitable chaos. Shadow history's message is clear: neglect financial clarity and systemic discipline, and empires, old or modern, collapse silently. Europe today repeats history. Its borders are modern, but its financial architecture is fragile. Ignore these lessons, and today's turmoil is only the beginning. Future debt crises and political chaos are inevitable.